All right.
What it do, beautiful people, my melanated kings and queens. Welcome to It's Just a Conversations. I am your host, Just a Verse. Let's converse.
Yeah, I love it when you talk, baby. You feel smooth, like butter, cocoa. This is just a conversation. Tell me about it, do my word and observation. They're telling us to be patient, but we gon' take it, we gon' not be complacent. We can run a race, that's part of history and all our innovation. We just having conversation. Really about it, do my word and observation.
What it do, beautiful people, my melanated kings and queens. It's another episode of It's Just a Conversation with your girl, Just a Verse. And this week, we have my cousin in the building. If you've watched this show or Unvaccinated Voices, and your point is you've seen him many, many times. He's a part of the UVVTV family. He's kind of on the move right now, so pardon if he, freezes up a little bit, but he'll be here and he got a lot to say. What up, Hugh? Can we hear you? We can't hear you. So what I'm going to do is he's getting himself together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get us started on our conversation today. Okay. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be an interesting one. We're going to go ahead and set it off with a little video. If you watched Unvaccinated Voices last week, at the end of it, you saw this video, but I'm going to play it again because it's worth playing. Okay, here we go.
Let me tell you something. Why y'all out here doing this? They are erasing history. Hip twerk on that, fucker. No, because be so fucking for real. Be so fucking for real. Y'all every day on this app to fucking everything. Meanwhile, you remember when your great-great-grandma was a slave? Yeah, they about to take that out the history books if they haven't already. Hip twerk on that. Hip twerk on that. They about to erase your fucking bloodline. And you hip twerking. Like, I get it. We supposed to be optimistic. But can we be fucking for real? Can we be fucking for real? Hip twerking these ballots. Hip twerking these elections. Hip twerking these, hip twerk on news. Hip twerk on other countries failing their people. Hip twerk on that.
I absolutely love that video because she's speaking pure truth when she said, go ahead and hit twerk on that. I also was scrolling through and I saw a couple things last week on social media. Yes, I do watch the news. I turn on my television and watch the news. I actually go to reputable websites, so on and so forth. But the real is a lot of people get it from social media sites. So I grabbed these from a couple social media sites. We have Florida rejects AP African American Studies course claiming it lacks educational value. And it's quoted, if the course comes into compliance and incorporates historical accurate content, the department will reopen the discussion. We also had the College Board strips down this AP curriculum for African American Studies, a study of contemporary topics including Black Lives Matter, incarceration, queer life, and the debate over reparations is downgraded. The subjects are no longer part of the exam and are simply offered on a list of options for required research project. And then right before we came on here, Hugh said to me, and this could just go in, but I just feel it's so important to pinpoint this. There's been backlash over the Negro National Anthem being sung at the Super Bowl. And frankly, it's been being sung at a lot of sporting events recently, right? And there's backlash for that. When you saw, if you watched Unvaccinated Voices last week, you saw me talk about how people wanted to get the Proud Family, the reboot, canceled because they're talking about all of these Black issues, right? And so Hugh is an educator. He was a Black educator. He was a Black educator that teaches many different people of many different races and cultural backgrounds and so on and so forth. So before I even get into my whole rants and all that type of stuff, Hugh, I'm gonna let you take it away. What's up, Cuzzo?
Man, so it's been a rough administration from Florida. I'm actually in Florida right now, and I keep I keep looking over my shoulder because I don't know what's coming up behind me. But what we have is that the previous presidential administration, awakened or gave license to racist ideology. And so in order to really appeal to that base, in order to really have political power, you have to out-racist the racist. And so this is what we have, everybody coming out the woodworks trying to out-Trump Trump. And what we have here is just confusion, because behind racism is ignorance. Underneath all of that, it's a grasp for power and stupidity. And so you're trying to make laws based on stupidity. And when you do that, then what you have is a bunch of things on paper that make no sense. And it's obvious that they're targeting Black people because all of these laws consistently focus on things about Black people or things that benefit or affect Black people. That has to do with the voting rights, that has to do with the teaching of history, and that definitely has to do with the idea that they're trying to take away affirmative action. All of this that has to do with what benefits and what uplifts Black people are being stripped down because they know that Black people consistently vote for Democrats. And so if you take away their power, their motivation, their ability to make reasonable decisions based on historical accuracy and understanding, then that's their only hope for really gaining power in a world where Republican ideas are becoming extinct or outdated.
And a lot of that comes from this new generation that's interested in what happened to my friend in class. Like, why are these Black people talking like this? And like I said last week on Unvaccinated Voices, 2020 put a foot in white people's ass because we had nothing but time. So now things are being put to the forefront and you can't just scroll by it. You can't just switch the channel because there's nothing else to do. So at that point, we had a time to be able to come together and be like, now we're showing you this. Like, for real. You want to try to play like you ain't know before? Now you have no excuse. It's right here in your face. And with that, there's a lot of young white people that's out there like, well, what's going on? Why are these Black people mad? What are they talking about? What's reparations? What are you talking about? So they're asking these questions. And there's a lot of them that they want to be cool with their Black friends. I like rap music. I like R&B music. I like all of this stuff. I want to still be cool. So and they're afraid, and then they're dating. Because everybody, Lord have mercy, especially out here in Arizona, ain't nobody of one race. I promise you. Not if you were born here. Everybody's just mixed together in some way or another. And that scares them. That scares them. To reference last week as well, which tells y'all should watch Unvaccinated Voices from last week, but to reference that as well, John was talking about how, with African Americans, they can't reach back to their ancestral line to see where they come from and so on and so forth. And he said, people who were born in like the West Indies, they could trace their stuff back. And I had to make a slight correction. They came through there first. So we can only trace back but so far ourselves. But here's the thing. When they look at Haiti, when they look at these other West Indian islands where they tried that mess, and these black folks said, nah, we not, nope. And they see how much they wanna put third world country in your head so much. I remember when I was younger being asked if we had toilets in Jamaica, if we use toilet paper in Jamaica, things like that. Because it's been so conditioned, they can't imagine an island in the West Indies with black people that have rich people. They can't imagine a set of people who don't want to move to America, who don't have a better life in America. They can't imagine that, right? So you have it here where you have these black people that rose up, did what they had to do, gained their independence, and said, we can run this and we can dominate and we'll be all right. That scares the mess out of them here in this country. Because if they allow black people the opportunity to do what we need to do in terms of learning our history, in terms of making changes so that we don't repeat our history, in terms of being able to move forward and not allowing other people to keep us back, it scares them. So what best to do than to say this is a bunch of racist rhetoric and we're not going to teach it because and then they change it around. It's teaching white people that they're horrible people. It's teaching black people that they ought to hate white people. It's teaching white people that they ought to hate themselves. No, it's really not. It's teaching you this is what happened. So now that you know what happened, what can we do to move forward together collectively to make sure that doesn't happen again and everyone can grow? And that scares them because everything we do, we dominate. Everything we touch, we dominate. Because we were talking about the Negro National Anthem being sung, we can discuss the Super Bowl. We can't be quarterbacks. Black people don't have the mental capacity to be a quarterback. All we can do is catch and run. All we can do is block. All we can do is hit. But we can't scope out anything in order for us to be able to
white man's commands. That's all we can do.
But we cannot lead. We cannot lead. And then scratch what I just said. We took over. We said, no, we're going to be undeniable. So when we're undeniable, unless you want to lose money because your team sucks, because you insist on having this person here when I'm better, use the better. Doesn't matter that I'm black, use the better quarterback. And when they chose the better quarterback, what happened in 2023?
We got
in the Super Bowl, you got two black quarterbacks. I don't care how light-skinned they are. Okay, that's what happens, and they're afraid of these things.
And it's one of the best, most competitive Super Bowls in a while. We didn't know who was winning until the end.
In a while, because you couldn't tell me, and anybody who knows me knows how much I love football. But being that Green Bay wasn't in it, at any given time, I could have changed the channel and been okay. You know what I'm saying? But with this, it was exciting, and it wasn't. The initial excitement did come from the two black quarterbacks, right? But watching the game, that didn't matter to me. It was a good game. Mm-hmm. It was a good game. You know what I'm saying? We can debate. We don't need to debate. Y'all know that last play, that last call was really jagged up. We ain't no debate in it. But you can fight about that. But at the end of the day, that was the last 2 minutes. At the end of the day, that was a good game.
Also, that decision to punt was a bad decision. So
we can take this whole subject around and be like, it's sports week, okay? But and the thing about it is, this is what's crazy. So we record on Sundays, as everyone should know by now. So yesterday, I was watching All-Star Weekend, NBA All-Star Weekend. Dang, I just forgot his name. Mac, the white boy that won the dunk.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all the black people that saw when he dunked. Ain't nobody cared that he was white. It was
Yeah,
like,
they cheered
yo,
for
this is
him.
fire. Let's go. It's over. That third dunk,
Mm-hmm.
it's over. It's a wrap. He won, and everybody's celebrating because we have the white man can't jump. That's the
Mm-hmm.
stereotype. White man can't jump. Yes, we've seen some white men, but you were saying dunk contest, everything. You expecting us to win, and when we see somebody come and they white and they kill it,
And
we
they're little.
celebrate.
He was small too.
And that's what makes it even. Again, we'll change this. We'll don't get me started. That it was he to me. He brought the excitement back to the dunk contest.
Mm-hmm.
We're not hating on him. We're not hating on. Look at that sideline. Look at the audience. Look at the crowd. Look at everybody on social media. Everybody's celebrating, but for some reason they cannot celebrate us. Right? You were talking about the national anthem, our national anthem being sung in the backlash. Talk to us about that, because I didn't see the backlash from that. I've been a little sick, so I ain't really been on it like that. But talk to me about that.
So I troll Fox News. I troll it so bad that sometimes I get my account suspended. It's it's just something I do. Apparently, you can't say redneck anymore. Um, but uh, Cheryl Lee Ralph was not even finished with that last note till victory is won. You know, she held that because she held that for a while because she got
She
them
did.
skills. All
She
right,
did.
and all of a sudden, I see it pop up social media on fire over Black Anthem being sung at Super Bowl. Now, the funny part of it is that half the comments that I saw were saying, I didn't see it, but I'm mad anyway. All right. So that's the first. I didn't watch it. This is why I don't
But
watch
I'm
football
just mad
anymore,
off the
but
principle.
I'm just mad. All right. Then the other part was there's only one national anthem. Well, not true. But there's the United States national anthem. Yes, there is only one of that, but there are other anthems that are recognized.
Mhm.
Okay. But my issue was you created the backlash that you're reporting.
Right.
How do you know that there's backlash already before the backlash has even happened?
Right.
You actually predicted, and not only predicted, you controlled that narrative. And so I love that this week it came out that they're completely a fraudulent organization, so that my people who are at least well-meaning and looked at this and thought this was a valid news source for conservative people, because everyone's perspective is valid. But
Right.
this organization, it has now been invalidated because it has stated that they will say and do anything just to trigger their base in order to get ratings.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened. Nothing else that they reported about the Super Bowl had as many comments or
Wow.
reactions. There were over, at last I counted, 18,000 comments on that.
Wow.
They talked about how great the white man sung the Star Spangled Banner. Maybe a
And he
couple.
killed it, and
He
we
did.
recognize it too.
He did. Not Whitney, but
Again, celebrating. We still you sang the
but
hell out of
still,
that damn anthem. You hear me?
yes, absolutely. But maybe 1,000 comments on that.
Wow.
The game itself, a couple hundred. Bad
Wow.
plays, 150, 300. Cheryl Lee Ralph singing the Black national anthem in the pregame that most of those people didn't watch got 18,000 comments. They're telling us to go back where we come from. If we're not ready to become American, then we should just go somewhere else.
You know
All of these statements. But it's what's funny to me is, why do they think that us singing our anthem is an affront to their anthem? They didn't play one over the other. They did both.
And
Why
then
can't
on
you do
top of
both?
that, how many times do we hear "Old Canada"?
Mm-hmm.
If you got one Canadian in the building, we finna sing their national anthem, and there's no problem with it. We don't have a problem with it. You
Right.
understand? Like it, and to be honest with you, I also think they got something against Cheryl Lee Ralph because she been winning her awards lately, and every time she win her awards lately, she talking to us to let us know how dope we are.
Mm-hmm.
Because since after Black Lives Matter became a bigger theme, a national theme during 2020, many sports events, a lot of sports events that I watch, if I catch it from the beginning, it's being sung.
Mm-hmm.
It's
It,
being
it's
sung.
not the
So
first
it's
time it's
not
sung at the
like this
Super
is the
Bowl.
first time and they surprise. Because to be honest with you, I wouldn't agree, but I would understand if this was the first time because that shock. Oh, snap, I can't believe you did this. No, it's 2023. They've been singing it since at least 2021
Mm-hmm.
is when I first started hearing like it, and it became more and more consistent. And you don't have a problem with singing another country's anthem in your country. You have no problem with
Mm-hmm.
that. And then let's not even go into the other verses of y'all national anthem. Let's not even. I'd have to have my daddy on because that's his favorite topic. He loves to go in on that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That they quote unquote took out, but it still exists if you Google it.
It's part of it.
But also, you're talking about a song that is all about war and violence, right? As opposed to another one that's talking about peace and hope and overcoming um, obstacles. Which one is more representative of what you try to say America is?
Well, you know what? Actually, for America, they would be right because this is a land of war. We're
Mm-hmm.
always bullying somebody. We're always going into somebody something and going and messing with all this stuff. We always want to fight. We want to fight to make sure that people can keep semi-automatic guns in their house in the middle of God knows where for no reason. So yeah, they're staying true. They're staying true to the theme of this country. But you don't want to do better.
That's how I got blocked, by the way, because I said something about the dumb redneck anthem, and they were like, "That's America." I said, "Okay, so America's a bunch of dumb rednecks," and then they were like, "Okay, you
And
got
then
it."
you got blocked. You know what? Last week on the show, Cousin Paul was commenting, and he said, white folks are crazy. They banning books like niggas really reading them. He blocked out the niggas. Idiots. Now they're reading. It's on the internet. And then he sent me a screenshot immediately after he posted that 2-hour chat that's on our show that we're doing, and ain't nobody. Your comment is now on Facebook, but it looks similar to other comments. We're removed because we don't follow the standards of hate speech.
Mm-hmm.
He said anytime you put white folks, they don't like that. You put white folks, they don't like that. But you can change one of the G's in nigga to an H, or you can put ninja. And white people will do this too, and I don't see nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
After all this time, you don't realize the NIGHA and is the same as just NIGGA on this here internet. Y'all got all this technology, but y'all can't weed that out. But somebody says white folks. But then you wonder why we need things that tell about our history.
Right.
It's the history of this country, period. It doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a bad person when you try to hide it, when you try to justify it. Because guess what, white people? None of y'all were alive when this happened. None of y'all. So at any given moment, you can say, man, that was some BS. Let's make some changes right now because, man, we were tripping.
Mm-hmm. But they're afraid it'll hit their pockets. That's what it all boils down to. They're afraid to let go of power, and they're afraid to let go of finances. Um, And by finances doesn't mean that you're taking money out of their pockets. It just means that if I am financially stable, I don't need to come to you for what I need anymore. And so it all goes back to education. When we were not allowed to learn to read, now they're trying to restrict what we can read now that we're able to do it. Um, this whole thing with Black history, and not just Black history, because it's also Black literature, and them trying to control what can be read, not just what can be taught, but
But simply what can be
what kids can pick up and read on their own. They're trying to restrict that. Why? Because they want to keep them ignorant, because the more ignorant you keep somebody, the more you can control them. Trump said he loves the ignorant and uneducated. Why? Because he can control them, as you can see. And so that is becoming the model for how the Republican Party is going to keep power. Is he's got to dumb down the electorate.
And the thing about it is, to me, they're following Trump. But what's funny to me about Trump is I don't think Trump's aim is necessary to be anti-Black or anti-education or anti-anything. Trump's focus is to be pro-Trump. So whatever it is that needs to be said or done in order for you to be pro-Trump, that's what it is. Mm-hmm. If a bunch of Black people had gotten behind Trump in the very beginning, he would have been so pro-Black, in my opinion. Not because he's pro-Black, but these are the people that want to follow me? Bet. All right, cool. What do I got to do to make sure that they keep following me? They keep loving on me. They keep thinking that I'm dope. Oh, they're going to buy from me, and they're going to make sure I always look good, and they're going to stand behind whatever it is that I say, no matter what I say. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, cool. Let me do whatever I need to do for those people. I honestly believe that's how, but that's not how we function, right? Well, not most of us. But there's a set of people that's like, you know what? He's down with us supporting him. So we support his rhetoric and we support his foolishness, then he's going to support us. Here's the dumb thing about them. He still doesn't support you, because if it doesn't benefit him, mm-hmm. I don't care how, whatever, racist, if it doesn't benefit him, he's not going to, as a result, he ends up being racist as hell. But I don't think it stems from the racism. It stems from the love of self. It stems from the narcissism. And then you feed into him and you feed into him. And then when you turn around and you decide you're going to run and he starts talking crap about you, or somebody says they like you more than they like, and he starts talking crap, now you're sitting over there confused. Now you don't know what direction to go in. You know? And now everybody's looking stupid, but you got a bunch of people that want to remain willfully ignorant so that they can push their hillbilly ass agenda to the masses. Mm-hmm. It's a shame when a country will get upset about a Black national anthem, right? But you don't take into consideration that, and correct me if I'm wrong, you right there in Florida, correct me if what I'm saying is different from what you're thinking or what you experience. If I see a bunch of American flags somewhere, I automatically think it's some racist around. Mm-hmm. And please don't let that American flag be on a pickup truck. In my mind, you trying to hang me.
Right. And it wasn't like that before.
It wasn't.
It's become, they've used it as a symbol of hate. They said we can't erect the Confederate flag anymore, mostly because it makes us look stupid. So we're going to use this as our symbol for hate, for white nationalist pride. That's what they're using it as a symbol of. And so their idea that, we should always try to be included with them, but they don't ever have to be inclusive of us. And so what ends up happening is that anything that we do in order to uplift ourselves or our people or to celebrate us, it becomes racist. Why isn't there Oh, a White History Month. That question doesn't make sense. I'm not going to answer it. It's
I'm
stupid.
not. I'm not. I'm so not. Okay.
You sit and reflect on that question yourself, because we're not going to have that dialogue.
Not at all. Because if
Also,
you're taking us out of the history, who's left? Because you're not talking about Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want all the Mexicans to go back to Mexico no matter what chaos you cause in Central America to set the foundation to make these people have to be in bad situations to try to come up. But we're not going to talk about that either. So what's left to talk about for 11 months? Well, actually 12, because we only get segments during. I love February, child, because I already know every streaming app I have all of a sudden has this black section where I can see all the shows and the movies that I've been searching for. I've been sitting there saying, Alexa, can you, and it can't never, January and then March through December, I cannot find it. Over February. And they let you know it's black history. It's black cinema. It's black movies. It's black, bliggity black. Come the first. White people nice to me during Black History Month too. They open my door out here. They open my door when I'm going, because any other time I've literally had grown men walk into a store and pull the door as if they're trying to pull it before I get there.
like it's your month. It's y'all month this month. Y'all got it.
I've had store managers. This one lady was having issues with paying her groceries in ahead of me, and the man said, he caught my eye and he said, I'll take you over here. I said, okay, cool. So I'm starting to put the stuff back in my cart. These white people came up and that man said, hold on, I got to take her first. I said, oh, this would have never happened in March. This would have never happened in March. But, you know, if you're only giving us a month, we understand it was a week and turned into a month and it happened to be in February, blah, 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 blah. Y'all changed so many other things. Y'all could have changed this too or extended it or something. But it's all right, whatever. Y'all want to take away everything and then want to ask the question about White History Month. But you know what? We're going to talk more on that after this commercial. We're going to go through and look at a bunch of meat. And then straight after that, we have No Passes coming up. And I think that Hugh is going to enjoy this No Passes before we head on out of this episode. So let's go ahead and jump over to our break. And on the other side, we're going to talk No Passes. All right?
She thought walking away was hard to do, until walking away led to truth. Discovering a peace that was hovering, but never before allowed to enter her soul. She thought she'd grow old and even cold. If life continued on the trajectory it was headed, complacency seemed inevitable. Until she took a look at herself and said, I'm betting on you. Exploring new worlds and new views, different energies and attitudes. Allowing her heart to be open, it became consumed by what could be described as a fantasy, far from tragedy, no. A dream that if told in a story would seem too good to be true. Taking the form of perfection, physical frequencies felt through erections, emotional energies flowing like oceans. Ocean brings forth life anew, birthing art inspired by Mahogany's muse. "30 is only a dream away, and Jess Copeland can feel it. Her unexpected journeys are filled with unpredictable obstacles, but she finds escape in her poetry. However, each rhyme she creates reveals that her life's path is still unwritten. Rather than face the unknown in fear, Jess cherishes a sense of peace in knowing every day she's given a blank page to fill with lines of her destiny, however colorfully chaotic it may be. have a confession. I have a weakness for musicians. I swear it's like I can't seem to learn my lesson. But something just comes over me when I hear the rhythm of a drum and a board in a sweet key. The electric, you might could get it. The acoustic, shit. And if you know anything about my history, you know the effect the bass has on me. My God. That shit literally brings me to my knees, and please don't have the vocals to accompany deceased. I swear if only I could get just one of y'all to behave, but y'all stress me to my grave. Just let me be the lyric to your melody, the verse that accompanies your beat, and I promise it'll be so sweet. But that's not it. Coming in next is another weakness, the lyricist, Lord. If you spit just the verse and me, I may make you bay and let you taste the cookie. Lord have mercy. Spoken art is so sexy. There is a power in your tongue that I love to experience, and if we can make this an incident, I'll return your favor with the freestyle on your mic. Exactly what you're thinking is right. See, y'all got me talking reckless, but I can't help it. Because there is something about a lyric and an instrument that makes me want to risk it all. Damn. I think about it and my body opens the dam that held it all in. So, hey, can I get one of y'all to just be my friend? I'm trying to see something right quick. Okay, I'll chill with the bullshit. I just wanted to give y'all a shout out to tell you I appreciate y'all on another level. Even though I swear y'all ain't nothing but the devil. But y'all keep doing what you do, because God knows I got nothing but love for each and every one of you.
Wow. Do you rap?
Can I touch your hair overnight? So well. I love it. Can I touch your hair? So well.
All I want.
Protesters gathered this morning outside St. Hubert's Catholic School in the wake of a disturbing video circulating on social media. The video includes a young female whose face was painted black being mocked by several other young females. It's believed that people in that video are students from St. Hubert's and Franklin Town Charter. Nicole.
I'm appalled, flabbergasted. There's no words. I'm like, is this even real?
This is how a daycare in Miami celebrated Black History Month. A classroom full of 2-year-olds in blackface.
Where are the checks and balances, right? So nothing like this happens. Good job.
Courtney Politis, whose 1-year-old daughter attended the daycare but was not in this particular class, says she was horrified when another parent at the school shared these photos originally posted on the daycare's app. They have since been removed.
I get a phone call from a close mom friend whose child also goes to this school. And she's like, oh my gosh, you won't believe what they've done in our child's class. Like, I'm sickened right now. I'm completely, there's no words. And I'm like, well, tell me. She's like, well, they painted all the children's face, blackface, and sent messages out saying Happy Black History Month.
She reached out to daycare owner and director Patricia Vitale that same day.
I'm immediately sending the screenshot over to her, and I let her know. I'm like, this is racist. Her response, I'm sorry, ? I don't understand. What are you saying? What is racist? Blackface. In our school, we don't use this word, neither. We have this kind of mind.
As a mother of 2 young biracial children, Politis says it's hard to protect them.
I thought we would have more time before these sort of things, or racism or microaggressions, would have to be experienced by our children.
Reached by CNN, Vitale declined to comment. But in a message sent to parents the day of the incident, Vitale wrote, "We have received a comment from one of our parents regarding the activity that was done in a teacher's class for the Black History Month. We have not intended to offend anyone, and we're very sorry about any inconvenience." The following Monday, Vitale sent another message about improving the training of daycare staff. Following the Black History Month incident, we wanted to let all the parents know that we met Friday afternoon with all the teachers and staff. We went over several ethical and multicultural education points. I will teach them a class covering all the necessary topics regarding U.S. history and multicultural education. You may rest assured this will never happen again. But that promise wasn't enough for Politis. She's pulled her 2 children out of 2 separate branches of the Studio Kids daycare and is looking for another child care provider.
Bottom line is we can't trust them with our children.
So every February, we get these stories where someone in some school decided that it made sense to paint these kids' faces black, or to paint each other's face black and say happy Black History Month or whatever the case may be. Then we tell them this is racist, and then they say, oh, I didn't know, I'm sorry, we thought we were honoring you, and we move on, and then the following year it happens. In between, we will usually get some sort of story where some politician, some respected actor, somebody respected and famous, with where there's a photo of them back in 1960 whatever, in blackface, and they end up having to apologize. They end up saying it was wrong. They end up having to do all of these things to indicate that it was wrong. But for some reason, in the schools and around the way, every Black History Month, everyone forgets that even they, as white people, have acknowledged that this is wrong, and they come and they do it again, right? Me personally, I believe y'all are doing this just to be assholes, okay? But I'm gonna go ahead and because normally I would do this on my own, but it's the perfect person I have on here with me to just take this. No passes. And what's your thoughts, Hugh, before we wrap up and get up out of here?
All right, so let's just start by saying it's never okay to put on blackface. Okay, there's never an excuse. You're never going to be seen as anything but racist because blackface stems from racism. Let me give you a quick history lesson. Blackface for dummies, because if you're thinking about blackface, that's exactly what you are. Following slavery, as a way of entertainment, they used to dress up in blackface for white audiences in order to mock and belittle Black people, in order to make us look like subhumans with limited intelligence. There's no other entertainment value in blackface besides racism, and so anytime you do it, it is racist. You can be Barack Obama without painting your face black. You can be
accident reported ahead.
You can be Colin Powell without painting your face black. They're light skinned, so it doesn't even make sense.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not even like it's a stretch. Like,
all right. I remember when I was in 6th grade, they had us, wasn't even from Black History Month, but we had to do biographies on historical figures, and we had to dress up like the person. And somebody wanted to be Bill Cosby. And he painted his face black and wore an afro wig, a nappy afro wig, not a coiffed afro. Now, I don't ever, in my lifetime, remember having Bill Cosby having a big afro. So this was just a racist trope. I didn't have the words for it then because I was sixth grader. I hadn't studied blackface. I just knew it was very racist. And guess what? Not a single teacher. He walked around all day like that.
And you know why? Because there was no social media to hold them accountable. And the thing about it is social media is horrible in many ways. But one thing it does is shine a spot. It gives people a tool to shine a spotlight on foolishness. And because there's no one to hold them accountable, and at this point you're living in Florida, the Orlando area, outside of Orlando, Longwood, right? Mm-hmm. So... yeah. Yeah, to me it makes sense that no one would say anything and he'd walk around just.
Yeah, and they probably knew more about blackface than I did at the time.
Of course they did. Of course they did. But you ain't say nothing, so therefore I'm not gonna say nothing. So we good over here. You know, like to be honest with you, I don't even like to see pictures of people wearing the black clay mask. White people wearing the black clay mask, they exfoliate it to, you know what I'm saying, pull out the top. I don't even like that. I get it.
You don't need to use
I get it, but you want to tell me there ain't no green mask. I know the black charcoal or whatever is cool. I get it, but it still makes me uncomfortable even to see that.
They need to use the avocado mask. You need to stay away from the charcoal. I'm sorry.
I need y'all to just, there's green clay mask and there's all other options, a whole rainbow of options for you. It's just, to me, at this point, I'm talking about this today to put on notice that anyone that knows me, I personally, like, y'all can join if you want to, but I personally, I'm not giving any passes. I'm tired of the I didn't know. I'm tired of the I didn't mean it that way. I'm tired of all of your willful ignorance. It is willful ignorance. There's no other way to put it. There's no other way to phrase it. You decided that you're going to do it anyway. There cannot be any good intention behind it when you know the people you're supposedly honoring are offended by this. It just doesn't. If you know they're offended by this, why are you doing it and then talking about, oh, we didn't know, we were trying to honor you. We were trying to honor you. We don't. First of all, we don't need you to honor us. That's first of all. As far as I'm concerned, just leave me the hell alone. You know what I'm saying? Unless we are doing something that's mutually beneficial, you can leave me alone. If we, just like with any other human on this earth, if we don't meet and have a personal relationship where this is now makes sense for us to be talking about these things, whatever, just leave me the hell alone. Stranger danger. Okay? I don't talk to random black people either. I just don't talk to people. But you want to come on there and you want to act like you're doing something to honor us. Like, come on. Anybody who believes that BS is full of BS themselves. Because you cannot tell me it's I'll give you all the way up to 2020. And that's just me being nice. I will give you straight through till 2020, but you're not going to tell me after 2020 that you don't know. Not with all the internet we have, not with all the access that we have, not with all the comments that you can just scroll through and just see how things make people feel. So you're offended because we want to discuss history in its entirety. You're offended for that. So therefore you want to take this out of the schools because you don't want to discuss what you guys did because that's offensive to you, to tell the truth. But when we tell you this is offensive to us, an apology is supposed to do.
Right. So you want to actually take the history out of Black History Month, but you want to put some blackface on and make it a costume party.
As if there's no history in that. So you're allowed to do it, but then we're not allowed to teach why you're doing it or where it comes from. It just make it make sense to me. Make it make sense to me. I think once we start, John from Unvaccinated Voices always says, Black people are the most forgiving people on this planet. Just the most forgiving. We get screwed over, and I venture to say Black Americans, we get screwed over time and time and time again. And then we turn around, and as soon as they say sorry, we're like, okay. And I get it. Newsflash, white people, most Black people would love to just have this whole happy melting pot. We just want to get along with everybody. We just want everybody to be, we're just asking for equal. Just, hey, can we have what you have, please? Can we have the access you have, please? We ain't asking for nothing greater. You're afraid we're going to be greater. But we're not asking for anything greater. We're not asking for anything extra. We're just asking for the bare minimum. Imagine that. We actually march, protest, fight for the bare minimum. The bare minimum. Nothing special. And we're faced with this time and time again. And in the same breath, y'all turn around and say, we need to get rid of critical race theory. First of all, ain't no theory, but that's another story. So we about to wrap up. Any other thoughts on this no passes thing?
Overall, I just want to say that, we got it. We're living in a very critical time where we are trying to take teachers out of classrooms, criminalize them, and then put soldiers inside. And so when we see things like that, we know that there is a war on information, there's a war on education, and there's a war on our people. And so we have to stay vigilant. And guess what? Stay woke.
Period. All right, we're going to say bye in just a second. And on that note, Hugh, I appreciate you coming through. I know you had some other things to do. Bars after bars after bars. I'm just sick with it. Anyway, I appreciate you. I know you're on your way to go celebrate a Black man doing great things. So shout out. I appreciate you coming on, though, today. This was a great discussion. Of course, I'm going to ask you to come back on here many, many times. So y'all just look for it. Before we go, just to remind you, let me make sure I get this together. UVV has a lineup, and Your Point is on Tuesdays, Unvaccinated Voices on Wednesdays. It's Just the Conversations on Thursdays. Sunday, we have the Sunday Jazz Brunch. We're looking forward to the UVVTV Comedy Hour, the Hensons, which is going to be super dope. NASCAR Minute. Eddie's NASCAR Minute has started, so please make sure you like and subscribe to UVVTV so that you can be able to see everything that we have coming up, because this channel has a lot going on and we have a lot more coming in the future. In the meantime, once again, Hugh, I love you, cuzzo. It was an absolute pleasure. All right. And to all of y'all, we will see you next week. And we out.
Remember, you can find It's Just the Conversations and so much more at melanatedverses.com. Also, follow me on social media platforms at melanatedverses.
It's a conversation. We gotta do more than observation. It's enough to be patient, but we won't take it. We will not be complacent. We can moderate fast. That's part of history being all our innovation. We're just having conversation. We gotta do more than observation. It's just a